salary that everyone in the world can afford, right? So, being said that, what I wanted to do was create a platform, let's call it, or a sessions where you guys can learn how real world analytics data and real world project works, right? There are three kinds of the company in the world. One, which we call IT services company. For example, I have some work. I'll basically come up and I'll say that I need an app development. I need XYZ development, and you will go and develop it, right? There, the scope of the work is already defined, right? You exactly know what you're going to do, right? And that segment is, I think, currently getting diluted in the company itself, because every company now can generate their own project and do everything with the help of UI. The second form of company is basically the data and analytics and science company, which goes and find the science behind data, right? And that's where I come in, right? That's where my specialization is, right? And then the third company is there, which is basically the product company, right? Who creates product based on the solution and the problems that they see around the world, which is, for example, Facebook is a product, Twitter is a product, Salesforce is a product, SAP is a product, right? That is also one of my specialization, right? So I specialize in this area, and I think the world will go more towards this area rather than IT services. I think for larger part, the services piece of the equation will go away. Only the implementation of tool will be there. So if, let's say, you want to change job, you want to have a job, always and every time there will be some or other enterprise tool which is there. For example, SAP, for example, Salesforce, for example, Oracle, for example, Microsoft. These are tools in my dictionary, right? When you get these tools, you want to go and implement it, right? And how do you implement it? You basically go and figure out different knobs and walls every tool has. For example, you have, let's say, Microsoft Azure, right? And you have an app system where data is being stored somewhere, right? You need to go and figure out what is that somewhere and how you can move that data from there to Azure securely, right? Now, Azure has built all the tools inside it, right? All the walls, all the system that is there inside Azure. What you need to know is how you can connect all those dots so that you can bring this data inside Azure, right? Now, I'm just talking about data because that's what my domain is. But then there are a lot of things that you can do, which is infrastructure development. You can have virtual machines. You can have whole code repository sitting inside the Azure or GCP or AWS, for that matter, right? Now, this is a skill which is still going to be there for next 5-6 years, because everybody has not moved there, right? Moved on the cloud solution, but everybody is moving to the cloud solution. And I predict more or less in the next 5 years, this job of implementation will go away. There won't be anyone who will basically hire someone for implementation, because the cost of hiring someone for implementation will not justify the cost of having the product, right? Businesses run on product. So if, let's say, you want to find a job, you want to get promoted, you want to get another job, you are looking to switch, one thing that you need to understand is how businesses work, right? Every business works on money, right? For example, I want to hire a developer and a data developer, which is the data analyst, and I want to pay them $65,000, right, a year. Now, $65,000 a year is very less in any state in USA, right? Why? Because cost of living is way high here, right? You at least need, even if you are in Dallas, you need at least like $95,000 to live life comfortably, right? Anything below that, you're basically hand to mouth, or you're living in a bad neighborhood and all those things, right? Or student neighborhood kind of a thing, which is okay if you're just starting out, but that's not the ideal salary you want to be in. Now, thing is, do I want to afford $65,000 resource where I can run everything through ChatGPT or get all the data analytics things done, right? Now, if I can run everything through ChatGPT, I don't need data analyst at all, right? So data analyst job gone, right? Because I don't need a solution assistant. Now, if I'll have to break it down, I can break down every job role that is out there that can be gone with the help of AI. Right? Now, what is the role of us, right? Then we should not do anything, and we should all go back ideally to farming, right? But the issue is that can be also automated, right? So we don't have anywhere to go, right? Then comes the human element, which is our ability to think, right? We can think in the aptitudes that machine cannot think, right? Machine can generate a lot of thought, but it cannot think, which means that, for example, I am sitting here and I'm just thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I can sit on a cloud and just go to New York? Right? This is a very random, arbitrary thought. Machine won't think like that, right? Why? Because machine is trained in certain way to think in certain lines. I'm not. I can think in any manner I want to, right? So when we have these kind of things, the thought process becomes very important. And when the thought process becomes very important, the second thing that comes with it is scientific manner to think something, right? Now we'll do exercise today. I want this session in which everybody gets something out of it, so that we all understand the scope of what we can do with these sessions, right? So the first thing that we want to do with this session is, we'll do a small project, right? If you guys have pen and paper, if you guys have something, it's okay. If not, just think about it as a thinking exercise, right? And we will think something that I call analytical thinking, right? You all might know data and data analytics, but we will learn something which is little far above it, which is analytical thinking. Right now, we won't talk about algorithms. We'll talk about a process, right? Uh, you are from Nellore. Saran, can I know where are you from?
I'm from southern part of India, Chennai.
Chennai. Okay, yeah, I'm very well aware of it. Right, I have well traveled in southern part of India, right? So I know most of the places, right? Nikita, where are you from? Exactly from which part of India?
Yeah. I'm actually from Dallas.
No, 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 that I know. But in India, like, yeah, or your roots might be from India, right?
Oh, okay, okay. In that way, I am from Hyderabad.
Hyderabad. Okay. So you
Yes.
all must have seen the rice paddy fields, right?
Mm-hmm.
How the rice is grown, correct? You must have seen the
Yes.
water is there and the rice blooms and blossoms, right? Now just think, and this is an analytical question, right? Just think, can you predict how much rainfall is going to happen? First, second, can you predict how much rain or the water a field can store, right? So that your rice paddy always, like, be whatever the weather is, right? You can control the rain, you can control the water, amount of water that your field can store, right? It will help all the farmers in your region, right? Because most of in India, basically, Indian economy depends on farmers, because whatever we produce, we export, we import, right? All those things. If we solve that issue, it's a bigger issue that we are solving, right? And it's $1 billion idea. Now, let's say, and this is again, my company is working on it, right? I have an agri unit, which is basically agriculture AI, and that's what we are working on. So I'm just giving you the live project that we are doing, right? Now, let's say you have to predict how much water a field can store and how much rain it is going to happen and when it is going to happen. Three things are there, right? Now, if you are very well aware of algorithms and everything, just I'll give all of you one by one opportunity. This is the problem statement. How will you solve it? This is the question. So whoever wants to go first, they can. You guys can go first, and then we'll see.
Could you actually repeat the metrics? How much water
How
is
much
needed?
water field can store? Second,
Uh-huh.
how much rain will happen in a season? And third, uh, when it will rain. Three things are there.
What is the size of the field, Samir?
Up to you. Like, you can decide. Like, you all have seen the rain fields, right? Like, let's say I'm a farmer, right? And I came with this problem where I'm saying that, I don't know how much rain it is going to come or when it is going to come. I don't know the time when I should go and plant my seeds. And I have planted the seeds, and let's say I have to wait like 20 days and rain didn't occur, right? My whole seeds are gone, which the seed would have costed me like 5 lakh rupees, right? Now that seed is gone and I don't have additional money, right? So my only option is to either get more money at very higher interest rate loan and basically work through the lender who is not a traditional funding lender, so that I have to always pay back and uh, be at mercy of him. And then at the end, the option for the farmers is suicide in India, right? There is no bailout. So how can you reduce that? And there is only one thing that you can do for them. You can predict the soil, how much water it can retain. You can predict how much rain and when it is going to rain. Now the field size and everything will vary, right? Because every farmer has a different kind of a field, different structure, different shape, right? Now just think in data terms, and this is a very real project, right? This is actually happening not just in India, but I'll tell you, I work in Africa. Most of the African country has the same problem. So just think like, how will you solve it? And now you all have to think like a scientist, right? Not as a trained data, whatever the school has made you, right? So whoever wants to go first, they can go.
Is there any location to which this paddy is there?
Yeah, we will basically stick it up to southern part of India.
Okay.
Though usually all the southern part of India is not same, but let's say for time being, we'll assume that everything in southern part of India is same, right? And if we want to, we can basically do the Malabar Hills and just beyond this side, so that we have another parameter to add on.
So, Samir, what I think is like, I mean, the water that, whatever the rainwater or the water that is pumped, like, the, I mean, first we have to consider, I think, the metrics on the thing, like, uh, how much, I mean, like, what is the size of the land, and then the type of soil. Because, from my knowledge, because one thing, if you are working on a project like agri or hospital or something like that, we have to have a domain knowledge, and I think I do have a little knowledge on it. So that is the reason I think domain knowledge is a must. And then the second, the approach is like, uh, I think I'm not sure whether the carbon or the nitrogen. So the content raises, the water storage also, in the soil raises. So if there is an element in the soil, so it sticks the water in it for a long time. So we have to check that parameter. And also coming to when it is going to rain, so we can see the parameters for the 15 or 20 days for a sudden rain, not a seasonality rain. So in rainy season, we have, I mean, like our algorithm has a high chance of performing or predicting the right uh, time for raining. But there are times when there will be a sudden rain, and we also have to, make a time frame which is very much suitable when there is going to be a sudden rainfall, like a humidity drop. On the same day, there might be a sudden drop from 43 degrees to 30 degrees, then there is a chance of heavy rain. So we have to consider these parameters to sudden rain and seasonality. You have to check the seasonality, and then you have to, to the rainfall and the water retention. And yeah, we have to take maybe parameters like soil nitrogen percentage kind of. And the third metric, what is the third, requirement, Samir?
Water retention, when it will rain and how much it will rain.
Oh, how much it will rain? I mean, I'm not getting how much it will rain. What parameters do we need to take for how much it will rain?
Okay.
Maybe we can estimate the time, but the amount, maybe I'm not sure.
Okay.
So
Good.
that is one thing, maybe the domain knowledge and the parameters that is directly affecting your end result. These are the two things that you need to have a good grip on, to do things. So we
Okay.
have to groundwork on the parameters. Then that way, I think.
Okay. Good. Rajesh. Good. Good. Saran, Nikita, anybody?
So when we consider the amount of rain, maybe we can take a look at the historical data from local meteorological departments or from various different satellite providers who can help with data, let's say, for the past 10 or 15 years on how much it has rained in that area. You're talking about the southern western part of India. So the monsoon season over there is different than what it is there in the eastern side. So we could consider those factors. In terms of retaining the water, we need to consider factors like evaporation, uh, permeability of the soil. I read that about it in school sometime. Like
Correct.
you pour certain amount of water, the soil will absorb, and once the saturation happens, the remaining water is on top of the soil.
Correct.
So that is one factor which we could consider into this whole exercise. These
Correct.
are my 2 cents.
Correct. Correct. Great. Great. Yeah, Nikita, you have anything to add on?
I think, yeah. I mean, the other two have looked at the metrics what are essential. So, I mean, coming from a data background, I think look, we have to take in these features and do some feature engineering and apply it on models, do forecasting, and then that's how we can predict which feature, like the soil quality or the water quantity, or how could we better
Right.
the cultivation of crops,
Right.
right?
Right.
Actually, I think domain knowledge is also essential, but technically understanding it, I think we have to use all these features and put it in an apt model and forecast.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct. Okay. 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 So you all had like some idea on how to solve this issue, right? How to solve the majorly like the problem statement, right? So I'll show you in a bit like how basically we structure our thought and how do we reach out to it scientifically, right? What you guys did is commonly, if I'll go to any tea shop, coffee shop in the world, and if I'll ask someone, they'll basically give me the same answer, right? But they won't have like refined answer because you guys have a little bit knowledge about data and data science, so that you can tell me about feature engineering, you can tell me about modeling, you can tell me about data variables and all those things, right? So in a minute, I'll show you like what exactly means when I say something that you have to go and do in a scientific manner, right? Now, the issue is none of you might have done farming, right? So you have to go and bank on the knowledge of what you know of farming, right? But you all must have driven a car or sat in a car, right? Like that is the base minimum thing all of you might have done, right? Now, let's say there is a car which doesn't have a air vent at back, right? On the back seat when people sit. Usually there is not air vent in all the cars, right? Only the luxury cars had like double vents, right? Which is at the back also so that people can get the air, right? Now, let's say you have to create a system by which people, everybody who is sitting in the car can basically enjoy all the air that is coming. uh, how will you design a method by which every single person in the car gets the air at the same time and in an appropriate quantity? How will you design it? And again, it might sound like a physics problem, but this is a data problem. How will you solve this? Now you all can visualize how you will sit in a car at a back seat, and you can all visualize what the issues are there, right? Which is how you sweat, right? If there is not enough air that is coming. But let's say somebody on the AC, if you all remember, there was this car I had like growing up, which was Alto, right? And Alto had the issue, right? In the hot summer, when it would be 40-degree outside, when the car will start for initial 3, 4, 5 minutes, I won't get like good air, right? But after 5 minutes, it will start getting too chilly, right? Because it was a closed environment, and then the AC, which we can see in the Saran's room, right? It worked in the same manner, right? Like you on the AC, it won't be cool at that moment, right? But in 5 minutes, it would be super cool, super, super, super cold, right? But if you'll sit right in front of AC in the minute one, you will feel the cold, but at the corner of the room, you won't feel the cold. So how in terms of data you can solve this issue? That at the same time, in the minute one, everybody feels the same quantity of air.
Mm. Samir, if I just have some urgent call, I'll just take it in 5 minutes and come. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be back in
Sure.
just 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So Raja and Saran, you guys understood the question, right?
So we are talking this from a data perspective, or are we talking it in terms of a solution
You have
which
to
could
do a
bring
solution engineering using data.
using data? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought probably we can connect a couple of PVC pipes, run it through the car, put holes onto it.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. That's like every building system in the world that does, right? But let's
Right.
say you have to solve it with data.
Okay.
Okay. Raja, you have any idea?
No, I mean, just yeah, solution. We can do anything, but if it is a data-driven solution, then I have to, have to think about it.
No worries, no worries, no worries. So this is what I was talking about, right?
Yeah, because it isn't a phenomena. Because if it is a phenomena like the previous problem, I know, uh, building a solution or a project uh, is easy, but this isn't something a phenomena because
Correct,
it is a thing that has to happen,
correct, correct. That's
which
why,
makes it
yeah,
difficult.
which makes it difficult, correct? And that's what the idea was, right? I wanted to give you guys two scenarios. One, which was very scientific phenomena, right? It happens. It is something that everybody can see and then understand and then take a call on it, right? And the second one is, which is not a phenomena at all.
Oh yeah.
That's science, right? Like, how do you solve that equation? How do you solve that issue? So I'm just going to share my screen.
Uh-huh.
And what we are going to do is we are going to do a solution engineering right now. And this is the skill which will get you job or which will keep you in job, right? Now, why I say this, because if everything is there, like you have all the data and I have given you all the access, uh, you can do most of the work. You can do like 90% of the work and you won't have any issue at all. Why? Because it's simple, right? If I have given you all the data, if I've told you all the problem, you become an IT services company,
Mhm.
right? Which we started with, right? Where the scope is very clear. You don't have to think. You just have to go and do 5 things. Life is easy, right? But that easy will go away once the project is over,
Mhm.
right? And there is only limited number of projects which people will do, right? And then they are all happy and then they are all gone. But there is one thing which will never go away, which is the problems, right? And your ability to solve the problem. So as soon as I'm able to get disconnected, this is good. Okay. So this is giving me trouble. No worries. We will do it here. So let me open the sheet and do it here. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to just uh, tell you like how do we create a solution, and then later on, I'll share this file with you all, so you all can see. Okay, this is good. No. Okay. So I hope you all can see my screen. This is good.
Oh yeah.
Okay, great. So let's start. So the first one was that we were doing was uh, it was rain. It was rain prediction, right? If I write rain prediction, the problem statement becomes very easy. That I'm just predicting the rain, right? But if I write the problem statement in a manner creating a solution to reduce financial burden on farmers in developing countries, right? If I write in this manner, then this becomes an abstract problem, like our car problem, right? We just discussed the car problem. It becomes like that, correct? Uh, and if I do something like predict the rain in southern part of India, this becomes a variable problem, right? This is a variable problem, and this is an abstract problem, right? Though it is not abstract, this is very real problem, but for time being, we'll call it the abstract problem. Okay, so these are two kinds of problem that we usually get, right? Abstract problems, in abstract problem, what you always need to do is you need to figure out five things, which is why, what, how, when, and where, right? These are the things you need to figure out in every abstract, right? And I'll come back to it. Variable problem, you need to figure out only two things. One is factors, and second is influences, right? Now let's understand what each of these elements mean, right? When I say why, it means why it is happening, right? Then second is what is happening in reality at smallest granularity, which means basically what is happening at the very smallest scale, right? And then come how it is happening, right? And then we'll come to when it will happen, and then we'll come to where it will happen, right? Which is simple. Now let's understand, like let's try to understand the difference between this all abstracts, right? Uh, why it is happening, right? Let's say we were doing the car problem, right? Which was, our question was, how can we make a solution with which every single person in car gets equal amount of air at same time, right? Now this is a very abstract physics problem, right? If you look at it, it is very hard to understand and explain, right? What it is, why, and what is happening there, right? So now we will turn that problem into a data problem. Okay. So how do we do that, right? We have to draw a car, right? Let's say I'll tell you guys to draw a car, right? Which is, let's say, I'll basically do something free flowing. Should have something that I can draw. Okay, I'm not getting something to draw here. Let's say, let's assume there is this car, right? And I'll assume car as a box for time being, right? Um, there should be a method by which I can add a box. I'm not getting. Okay, I'll insert a table. So let's say this is my car is there, right? This is how my car looks like, right? Now, actually, the car. Let's say if I do like this becomes a car, and every car has a building block, right? I'll go and I'll basically try to make the building blocks in the most smallest blocks, right? Like I'll divide the car into very small blocks, right? And I'll basically switch on the air and I'll see how the air flows and what is the time of dispersion, right? So if I have to think scientifically, I'm thinking volume of air regulator, right? Which is how much air uh, the car is basically throwing up, right? This is volume of air from the car regulator. Car is throwing some air, and I'm able to see that, right? For example, every fan that moves has a volume of air being thrown, right? Or air being displaced, right? Same thing that I'll do is uh, area of car, right? If I have the volume of air being thrown in area of car, I can do a very simple calculation, which is uh, per per cubic centimeter inch, whatever I have taken, how much air is there in the car. And I'll start writing, right? That here the air is much more because the car ventilator is here, so it is much more. It is much less here at the roof, and then it is flowing, and it is much more less here at the back in the bumper of the car, right? So I know how the air is flowing in the car, right? So I have basically designed something. Now just visualize. Now this is again a visualization exercise, right? How will the airflow will look in the car, right? If you have to visualize, if you understood that air is being flown here, and every area has a different kind of air that it is going to get, right? How will, in terms of data or design or diagram that you might have seen, how will it look like? The amount of air, if you have to just think in terms of a visualization in the charts that you might have done in your entire career, what kind of chart it will make? Just think on it. And anybody can give me that answer, right? If you can visualize it.
So it is going to be highly concentrated towards the left or the front of the car, and as it goes back, probably it will diminish. Let's say if we're going to give it a color coding, it would move from green to hues of orange and finally red.
Correct. Correct. So if I have to basically make that visualization, it will look something like, I can make the visualization here. It will look something like this, which is, let's say this is my car. This is a car that I have, right? And this is the front seat, right? This is where the air is coming. I'll have much more air here, right? And then there is foot right side also. So I have much more air here, little less here, and zero here, right? So my curve will be something, if I have to basically make a curve on air, this is air and this is distance, right? I'll have very high concentration here and it will taper it down like this. Correct? That's how you all can visualize this graph and you all can see this graph, right? Now, if this is how the air flow is going to be, now this physics problem becomes a data problem, right? Because this is how my air concentration is. What I need to do is I have to make sure that air remains consistent and constant in the car, right? Now, you all have seen data, you all have learned statistics in some or other way, right? Even in class 9, 10, 11, 12, right? Now, just think, if I have a graph like this, how I can make it average and consistent for everyone? What I should do to this graph to make it consistent for everyone? Anyone? Okay.
More at more places we can install within the car.
Yeah, but that's again, we are going and solving it in terms of physics, right? I want to solve it with data. I want to make it consistent. So what I'll do, if I have to
What
make
have
it,
you written on the x-axis?
this is distance. So this is basically the distance of. I'll basically write it much more clearly. This is distance from front to back of car, and this is air quantity. Okay, so the air quantity is always very high at front and very low at back, right? That's how our car is, right? I have to make it consistent in terms of data. What I'll do, if I have to make it average out, right? I'll make another graph and let's see if this gives you guys an idea. This is how my data flow is there, right? And let's say this is my entire car. I have to make, and this is what the air right now I'm getting. I have to make it consistent for everyone. What I should do. This is again, I'm dividing a rectangle on a diagonal. If I have to make it consistent, what I can do. You must all have seen in class 9th and 10th, we learned how to divide a structure in two manners. One, you can do it like this, or you can do it diagonally. right? If you will do like, if you'll choose this one, this line, it basically divides the air into equal part among the car everywhere, right? Now the front is getting also this much and the back is also getting this much, correct? Now this becomes a data problem, right? Because I have basically solved like how the air should flow consistently, right? And right now it is flowing like this, but I want to make sure that it flows like this. What I will do as a data scientist, my job is to now go and understand what all variable made air quantity, right? Variables for air quantity, right? And second, I'll go and I'll find variables for distance from front to back of car, right? Now this variable can have the space, the distance, right, which is the state variable, which is the distance of front to back. Second might be how much roadblocks I have in the distance, which is what is the distance of the front seat, what is the distance of the second seat, how long is the seat, and all those things, right? Now you will go to the first variable, which is the speed of air, right? You then, these are the two things which is there for the car. You will go on the third thing, which is external variables, right? Which is weather, which is duration of travel, which is time of day, right? Because at night you might not feel the same way the car is getting condensed the way you might feel in the day, right? So this is how you have added data now. Now this is not a physics problem at all, right? you won't you won't be able to solve it completely with data, but you will be able to find out what all things you need to do so that you can go and fix it with physics, right? Fixing up, adding a PVC might not help here, right? What might help is basically tilting the shape of how the air vent is coming, right? I can restrict that it doesn't flow at top. I can restrict, let's say I have the air vent here. I'll protrude it a little bit so that air flows mostly on this direction rather than it goes on this direction, right? Let's say this is how my car is there, right? I can do something like, let's say it doesn't, it has a thin shed, right? And I can basically add a PVC foam in top of it, right? So that the heat doesn't percolate at top, right? How will I know that? By data, by knowing what I need to do with how the air is flowing, right? Now, this was the example for solution building, right, with the help of data. And this solution, this thinking is what is required in the industry, right? So when I go and when I usually, when me or any of the firms that I have seen hire people, even at Facebook, Google, any company that you want to go and have a career on, this exactly is the talent and the solution that they are looking to get, right? So the next time when you are going and explaining your project, explaining what you have done in the past, you have to think in terms of how scientifically you can explain it, what solution you have built with the help of data, and then go and basically tell them this is what we engineer. And this is what should reflect from your resume, right? Not that you can churn 1 terabyte of data, right? 1 terabyte of data churning is not a skill, it's a tool, right? Power BI dashboard you have built, it's a tool, right? Tool is something that I can teach anyone in a month, right? But I cannot teach this thinking to people. This is something you have to ingrain with your practice. And if you can ingrain this solution building, uh, nobody in the world can ever fire you. And if they fire you, you'll have the job next day, right? Because this is the skill which only comes when you start thinking and visualizing things in a manner where you can attach data to the physics problem. Okay, cool, understood. Okay, this is something new you all might have seen, because this is not what university teaches, right? uh, Frankly, they also don't even know how to teach this, so that's their issue. But on the second piece, we started with the farming problem, right? Farming was, I defined the problem into two. One is abstract and second is variable. Variable has two things. One is factors and second is influences, right? What does factors and what does influences means, right? So when we talk about farming, the factor is rain, right? Now, rain is not the main factor. The main factor is planting the seeds. Second is filling land with water, right? Second is paddy cultivation. Cultivation. Paddy cultivation is basically you have to take paddy, move it, right? That is how the rice is basically grown, right? So these are the four things. Let's say these are the basically three things. If I'll remove rain, rain is not a factor. So planting seed, filling land with water, paddy cultivation, and then basically taking out paddy, which is it has grown into a whole crop and you're taking out the rice, right? So these are the four factors that basically determine the life cycle of a farmer. What influences? When are you going to plant the seed? It depends on when it is going to rain. You cannot plant a seed after it has rained, right? Because then there is no purpose of it. So you have to plan when you are going to plant the seed so that in 7 days, 8 days, it starts raining and then it basically fills up the field. Now, farming is something which is very ancient, right? People have been doing it for thousands of years. So they know a pattern, right? So there is a pattern which is pattern of planting, right? Now, let's say if I have to just assume how, if I have never done farming in my life, right? But let's say I want to go and do farming tomorrow. I won't plan anything dot to dot because weather can change anytime, right? So I have to plan in a range, right? Here I won't talk absolute numbers. Here I'll talk in a range, which is rain might happen in next 14 to 28 days, right? So I have to be very conscious of the fact the seeds that I'm choosing can survive for 28 days, right? With little help of water that I can get from the tube well, right? Now, I have to also know and believe in a system that it is going to rain in next 14 to 28 days, right? Then my prediction becomes very important and my planning becomes very important. If I can go and predict for a farmer that I'm 80% sure that it is going to rain between 16 to 21st day, which you all might know with the p value, t value, that we can get to some kind of accuracy where the statistics comes into play. I can say that, okay, if it is going to rain between 14 to 21st day, that is my p value is telling me, you can start planning on day zero and in 14 to 21st day, it is going to rain. So the farmer will go and plant the seeds on day zero, right? Now, since I have predicted between 14 to 21st day, the rain will happen, rain happened. Now, the second thing is how much it will rain, right? Because based on that, I can decide where I should go and plant the seed. So what I'll do a soil sampling analysis so that I can know the permeability of the soil, which is the soil, how much water it can retain. Saran was very right. Every soil has a permeability, right? That is why in India, not every place can grow the same crop, or in the world, right? That is why North has much more wheat crop or the corn crop rather than the southern part of the India, which has a rice, and which is a very different kind of a rice that we grow in the central part of India or in the little western, southern, let's call it southern east, which is we do Orissa, right? Orissa has a very different rice than Andhra has, or than the Kerala has, or the Tamil Nadu has. There is a rice variety. Why it has variety? Because it depends on the kind of soil and the rain it gets, right? Usually, when I say southern part of the India gets something we call retreat monsoon, which means that it will get a monsoon very early on, like May, April, and May, and then it will again get a monsoon at the end of August and September when it will rain heavily there, right? So if I'm a smart farmer, I can basically use my farmland twice, right? Because rice field basically takes 3 months to grow and do everything, right? But in India, people don't do that. Why? Because they cannot predict or nobody predicts them for them when the retreat monsoon is coming so that they can plan their land, right? So if we can do that, then it basically becomes the life easier for them. How do we do that? Factors. These are the factors, but the influencers are rain, pattern of planting, soil type, right? And land type. which I mean by is the land on a hill, hillock, or a flat land, right? Because we have everything in southern India. When we have hillock, we basically grow tea there or coffee there, right? So based on that, we will decide the land type, right? Now, these are the only influences. When we have the influences, we basically go and derive variables from it. And from the factors, we decide the relationship between variables, relationship of variables, right? So this all you might have done different kinds of projects in your entirety. You all focused on one thing, which is variable, right? But if we have to solve and ideate something, we have to go back to level up, which is factor and influences. What are the factor and how it is getting influences? And on the influences, you will derive variable. With factor, you will derive the relationship. How will you basically assess the relationship and variable? This is something we call statistical testing, right? Statistical testing, right? Which is you will run the correlation. You will find whether the variable is correlated with each other or not. Is there any hyper relationship going on, which is two variable when they coincide, they basically cancel out each other, right? So that all thing you will do here. But to reach to this point, you need to understand factor and influence. Then only you can explain your idea. Then only you can make your idea work. Otherwise, whatever accuracy system you're getting, it is not something that you can employ at a production level. Okay. Because if you can not explain what you have done and why you have done, your algorithm is as good as nothing. So this is how basically you ideate and solve a problem. Okay. You guys understood something? Good. So this is what basically my idea is, to develop on people so that they can ideate, they can solve, and they can understand how to ideate and solve. Now, let's say you have reached to this point, right, where you were able to do factor and influence. Now you guys are ready to do something with ChatGPT, right? Prior to that, you are using ChatGPT or any Perplexity or Claude as more or less a search engine rather than an assistant, right? You need to be this level. You need to come to this level so that you can use it as an assistant. Okay. We'll see how you can use it as an assistant and all those things in the later part of the classes. But this is how it works. Okay. I hope you guys learned something today. And before ending today's class, I will show you one more thing which I like to show everyone and explain everyone. If you are in a place where you are doing your let's say you are searching job or you're looking for opportunity, I'll just show you how you can do it with the help of ChatGPT practically. Okay, so this is something which even if you didn't understood the other part or will need time to understood the other part, you should definitely do this thing, right? Do I have anyone's resume? Let me see if I have anyone's resume with me so that I can show you something. Uh, uh, you have, Raja, you have sent me your resume, right? If I'm not wrong.
I think I did.
Okay, let me see. No, I don't think I have your resume. Let me see. I think I have Rajat's resume. Rajat, would you mind if I do something with your resume and just show it to everyone here?
No, sure.
Sure. Oh, good. So this is what I'm going to do right now. This is our Chat GPT. All of us has Chat GPT, right? One thing which we need to understand is what job role we can get and what job role we are looking. More or less, resume doesn't matter in today's world because the way the systems are there, it won't even matter. Like every system can pass your resume, right? So don't worry about the ATS ready resume anymore, right? Uh, why I know this, because I have a written book on resume and ATS, sold it to 250,000 people, and now I know that book doesn't mean anything because the technology has changed a lot, right? But let's say this is Rajat's resume. I will just quickly show it to all of you. This is Rajat's resume, right? He has all the good thing. He's a software developer professional. He has skills. He has project, right? He has written everything. He has done his master's and bachelor's, all those things he has written, right? A good resume, right? Uh, all those things are there. So let's say this is his resume. I have just uploaded in the chat GPT. And now what I'll prompt, remember this prompt, right? And you don't have to remember the structure of the prompt, right? Act as career, as a recruiter, and find me. Hey, Rajat, what kind of job role you're looking next?
Software engineer.
Find a job role address. Software engineer in, let's say, Dallas, Texas, and who sponsors H1B. Ask me questions to refine your search, and then only give me companies. Right? So what I have done, I have basically, this is the first line is something which most of you will go and write, right? I have added one more line, which is ask me questions. I want system to ask me questions so that it can refine the context. Every LLM is like an ocean, right? It knows everything. But you have to go and tell the ocean that you want to take water from Chennai, or you want to take water from, let's say, Odisha, or you want to go and take water from Mumbai, right? Everything is the same ocean, right? It's a different bays are there, right? You have to choose your bay. How you will choose the bay? You will basically ask it to ask you a question. Okay. Now you will see what it will do. That is sponsors. I have attached my resume and just refer me the roles based on my resume. Now, most of you, or I have seen when people come to me with questions, they often say that we have to change resume for every role, right? Now, what we are doing, I'm not going to change my resume for anyone. I know what I know, and I'm just going to find the roles which fits my resume. Okay. So let's say this is what I have done. It basically went and it understood what it has done. See, it extracted everything that is there. Correct. This is exactly the thing which is a ATS system does. ATS is application tracking system. It has two elements. One, resume parser, which extracts the data point on resume, and second is resume matching with job description, right? Which this system can also do, right? So this is it basically started asking some question, right? So I'll basically do this, right? And I will paste these questions here and I'll try to answer. Are you on? So I'll write, let's say, I'm assuming I'll say STEM OPT, right? I'm just assuming things here. I'm open to relocating. I'm open to any workload, right? Do you prefer? Let's say I have a preference, right? I'll say that Rajat is great at with Java and AWS. So I think Rajat can work very good in IT services and consulting. If not, then banking. Banking is another sector which is very booming in IT, right? Anything is fine, right? Which pays me over, let's say, 100, right? Let's say this is what I'm assuming. 100 permanent full time. Now, what I'm doing, I'm basically enriching my GPT, GPT with a lot of, yes, I'm basically enriching it with a lot of data. So as soon as I gave this answer, now it will go and search the web. It will, because instead of you investing a lot of time, it will basically go and find the job roles, right? So if you look at it, you will see that these are the company which is basically looking for hiring. Now, let's say you are software engineer, or I think rather you are software engineer, right? You said you are looking for the software engineer roles, right? If I'm correct, if I'm assuming correctly.
Yes, yes, yes.
Have you applied to Kesar Web?
No.
No, if you have applied to Ryan LLC
I think once, yes.
once, right? So this is now it can basically do everything for you, right? It can basically find like what kind of uh, any of if you want to target, it will basically go give you the recruiter name. It can give you the link of the job role. It can give you everything. We'll try something, right? Uh, Try to find some recruiters who are actively hiring for Ryan LLC, right? So it will basically go and it will try to find if it can based on whom you should go and basically go and find it out what you need to find it out, right? So if you can look at it that, and I don't know whether you guys have done this or not, but this is basically a method by which you don't have to go and apply for thousands of jobs. You can basically go and find what are the 7 or 8 job roles which are there, right? Which is right in your vicinity. You can even go and find do they have open office hours where you can go and meet them in person, right? Tell them about your talent, tell them about what you know, what you don't know, right? So this is how you basically use a element of ChatGPT or OpenAI just to showcase your talent, right? Uh, Being said that, this will help you in your job search, but to get the job, you have to do what we did for last 58 minutes rather than last 5 minutes, right? So yeah, people will hire you for that 58 minutes rather than this 5 minutes. This 5 minutes just adds on to your smartness layer, right? This doesn't give you a job, right? So being said that, we are almost closer to the time. Anybody has any question, anything?
I just want to know how are the classes structured? Structure as in, I understood. We will be learning how to think and how to use
Yeah.
your logical brain in solving problems, right? And also how we could utilize these AI tools in solving the problems. Uh, and what else will we be learning from the
Right.
sessions?
So these sessions, like you will learn like how. So this is the tools is one part of it, right? Every tool has an
Hmm.
API component, right? That is what you need to learn, right? There are other tools like N8N, right? N8N is basically an automation tool with AI, right? How you can make automated caller, how you can make a lot of those things, right? So you need to know those kinds of tool which actually gets used in IT companies, right? Chat GPT is most of the people will still use it as a search engine, right? But how you can take that API and make it into a product, right? Those things you will learn. Second thing that you will learn is I'll bring out some friends from different companies, right? And then the city of Dallas and Plano, they basically will have sessions with them, right? And they will explain what kind of people they are looking to hire, right? So that you will have a chance to basically know and learn from the people in different companies like Perplexity, OpenAI, and they are giving some credits also. So you can use the APIs to do whatever you want to do and you want to build. And based on that, uh, uh, since you will meet those people, you can also ask question like how do they hire and what do they look for when they hire. Right? So you will have much more granular information from the recruiters itself. And then there is one recruiter who is going to hire, and they are looking to hire in the space of IT and aerospace engineering, a Dallas-based company, but they have a partnership with Boeing and all those, every airline in the world, right? They're the biggest airline company. Um, so they will basically come and talk to you about what they are looking to hire an engineer, IT engineer. So that's more or less that's what you will learn or get.
Okay. Uh, how many sessions? I mean, when are these classes up till?
This will be second week of August.
Until second week of
Yeah.
August. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just have one more question.
sure.
Y- you mentioned about the API. I
Mhm.
didn't quite get it.
So
What we will learn from.
correct. So
the-
I'll just quickly show it to you something.
Yeah, just for
Even, yeah,
clarity.
even if you guys have not done it or have never seen it, like you should definitely go and learn this part because this is something which is again a future looking thing, which is this is openai.com/API, right? And you will see a lot of government basically uses this thing, which is every company has different models, right? When they say 1 million context, 1 billion context, what does it mean, right? You need to understand that piece. So OpenAI has different kinds of API, like response API, chat completion, real time, assistant. What does this mean, right? This is what we are going to use. And if you'll go in a company which is building anything around LLM or RAG model or using it for their internal purpose, this is the backend that they're using. They don't use they don't use Chat GPT. They use the APIs of OpenAI to build solutions, right? So basically enrich the data to and do a data analysis to do a lot of different things. That's what you learn. And even with this class, without this class, you all should go to this platform, which is documentation of this API, right? It has everything that you need to know in the world, right? Around how to use this AI APIs, right? And this is something which is one of the mandatory requirement of any new hire, right? I don't care whether you know about linear regression or logistic regression because I don't think anybody can know until unless they have worked extensively on it. But if you don't know about this AI APIs, then it's a big problem because you're not hireable in the market. I cannot hire you for any of the data and AI work, right? If you don't want to learn this, as I started with the classes, you can always go back to a tool-based learning, which is get proficient in SAP, get proficient in Oracle, right? And learn those to the T and get certified in it because that guarantees job. If you are a certified SAP developer, I can guarantee you that you will get a job. There is no doubt. But the only thing is that career is like 3, 4, 5 years long. Because after that, the implementation is over and nobody needs anything. Even SAP doesn't need you, right? So you will again have to start looking for another thing. But you will have definite guaranteed job for 5 years. After that, again guaranteed you won't have job because the implementation will be over. You won't have so and this is the reality of new world. We have to upskill every second year, every third year, right? I started my career with mining engineering, went into AI, went into computational neurology. Now next thing that I will learn quantum or something, right? uh, we all have to do that, right? It's a harsh reality of the world, but this is what new modern world is. But yeah, this being said that, you all should know about how to use this APIs.
Alright.
Got it.
Samir, like, do we get the credits to use the API?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can use as much as you want, right? For next
Yeah.
30 days, like I'll give you token access, and this is on OpenAI side, so you can build whatever you want to build with that.
Perfect.
Um,
And also,
um,
how about the content that we discussed? Like, I mean, like, is it okay to share with the people?
Yeah, of
So
course.
in the call, yeah, if you can share, like, we can have have a look at it, and we can think about another scenario, and we can build the logical,
Yeah.
baseline kind of.
Yeah. See, the idea is in the next 5 week, 4 week, 5 week timeline, right? Uh, you all have to establish yourself as a thought leader, right?
Mhm.
I'll just say, like upfront, this is the most expensive course that you would have done, right? The 2 years of MS would
Mhm.
seem like the easiest thing that you have done. This is the real hard work because here you have to go farm the data, understand how data farming works. Here you have to understand how the projects are made. You have to understand how you need to go and figure out the science behind everything, right? And as you saw today, right, it's not easy. right? Even the car problem, right? I can tell you because with my research background, it becomes a little easy for me. But if you don't have research background and everything, I have to condense it 4 weeks. It will become tough for you. But I'm 100% sure in that time, you will have a shift in how you think about problems.
Okay. Basically, the mentality would be kind of a startup mentality.
And that's not your fault. That's the education system fault because they teach you like that, right? So, and I have been to the same system, so I know. It's not their fault also because they cannot make like when you have 200 people in a class, it becomes very hard to make everyone on the same level, same expectation. So, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Yeah.
So just to understand, do we get to work on a project together through these sessions, or it
Yeah,
is
of
more
course.
of a learning?
No, you'll do like 5 projects in 5 weeks. Yeah. And
Okay, five
I'll tell you,
projects, but
five
it's
projects.
going to be extensive, right?
Yeah, of
Uh,
course. Of course.
because yeah, I've realized the APIs only now, the open API, that all of that is there. I mean, until now, I've never gone deep into
Right.
it. So I feel the sessions are going to be extensive in whatever we learn and the working and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, it has to be expensive, right? Otherwise, like it would be like any other Coursera course that you can go and buy, right? Which is useless. So, not useless, but if you are just starting out, then it is good. But you already have a master's degree, right? Uh, Extensive is the expectation from you, right? So, and it's not like it again depends on first week will be hard because you will have to challenge yourself in how to think, right? Then it becomes easy. And I'll tell you, people from BSc background has done this, right? Or BA background, right? Who doesn't have any IT knowledge or whatsoever, right? I have kids in Malegaon, India. They have built basically a system in which they all had like 10-acre land, right? And they have built a rain prediction system, which they employed last week to help out their own families, right? And with the accuracy of around 98% on rain prediction for the Malegaon region, right? So it's not hard. And they don't even know or understand how to speak good English, right? Their issue is just that they nobody hired them because whenever they'll go to Pune for any job interview, they'll think in Marathi and then they'll try to speak English, right? What happens is half of the word in English is Marathi then, right? So they're getting confused on how to present themselves, but they did the rain prediction and they are basically helping out their own families. So yeah. So what I'm trying to explain is when I say extensive, I mean extensive on your brain, not in terms of workload. Right? Workload is up to you. So how much you want to uh, do and
Get
what.
out of it.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you. And also the timings of the sessions.
Yeah, I'll just send it to you all in a few. Right? We'll try to do mostly on the weekdays. Right? So weekends are free for everyone. Uh, uh, we'll do most probably after 17th, right? We'll meet here in Dallas, right? So that you guys can meet other people and see what they are building on and how they're building on, so that you will have a little bit more exposure on real world, right? Like what people are actually building in Dallas, right? If you will have that mentality, right, it becomes very easy to explain things. So,
Okay.
great. Anything
Okay.
else?
No, that's it, Samir. I just want to know the schedule. Like, yeah. So,
I'll send it to send it out to you by evening, right?
thanks, Samir.
No
Okay.
worries.
Thank you so much.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Thank you, guys.
It was
It was
nice.
good.
Thank you. It was good.
Thank you, Samir.
Thank
Have a wonderful
Thank
day,
you.
everyone. Bye.
you. You too.